Ladies and gentlemen, we are now only hours away from one of the most consequential mayoral elections in American history. Will New York City, America's financial capital, in fact, the entire world's financial capital, fall to socialism? Foreign socialist Zoran Mamdani is hell-bent on implementing policies that have never worked anywhere they've been tried. This is such an important race that the President of the United States, who is a Republican, has had to endorse a Democrat, even though there's a Republican running in the race, because he knows that Republican has no chance of defeating the socialist candidate. This is how important that race is. Trump has had to pick essentially between Ebola and cancer. You know, a big turd versus a smaller turd. They're both turds, but one's like significantly worse than the other. Trump said it very perfectly. He'd rather deal with a bad Democrat than deal with a communist. And that's what Zoran Mamdani is. Andrew Cuomo is doing everything in his power to get in the good graces of Republicans. He just went on Fox News to try one more time to convince Curtis Sliwa voters to vote for him, because as it turns out, he would win in a head-to-head if Mamdani and him were just in the race and Curtis Sliwa dropped out. But Curtis Sliwa has not dropped out, and I don't think he has to. He's a Republican candidate. If anything, Andrew Cuomo shouldn't have forced himself into the race, and all the money that's been spent on him could have been spent on Curtis Sliwa. But here is Andrew Cuomo on Fox News apologizing. That's how much he wants to win. Apologizing for his previous actions, which is something I've never seen him do, or any Democrat do. They don't take accountability. They just blame Republicans.
Nobody knew what we were dealing with. I had the best health experts from around the globe giving us advice. We followed the best advice. We followed the federal guidance. And people died in a horrific way. There were no visitors allowed into nursing homes. And I apologize for any family that lost a loved one during that time. It was on my watch, and I understand how terrible it was.
Yeah, we really were first and worst. I remember calling my family down in South Carolina saying, Mom and Dad, do not go to that party. You don't understand what's happening here. Y'all need to stay away from your friends right now and stay at home. People are losing their loved ones. My doorman, many of them lost like their dad, their mom. It was really sad. Janice Dean lost both of her in-laws because of the nursing home situation. It was a really hard time for New York, and we were the first.
Look, he apologized. The question is, are New Yorkers interested in forgiving him? Maybe not, but clearly President Trump's endorsement is working on some. This guy over here was not interested in voting for Cuomo until Trump said, yeah, go vote for him because you have no other choice.
City resident, tell me why you decided to vote for Andrew Cuomo.
I decided to vote for Andrew Cuomo because he has a lot of experience. He's been the governor of New York, and I feel like we don't want our city to go in a direction that's not, important for businesses as well as our regular everyday New Yorkers.
Obviously, Mr. Cuomo is not the front runner, according to just about every poll that's out there. You look at Zoran Mamdani is the front runner.
By the way, this is bothering me. Why does it say polls open in first major test of Trump's second term? What do any of these races have to do with Trump? It's New York City. A liberal was always going to win. It's just how bad, like 50 Shades of Gray, like which shade of bad are you talking about? And it just so happens that we have a really bad one and just a bad one.
What do you think of him as a candidate? And none of the things that he was talking about appeal to you? Affordable housing, making health care for children more affordable, free buses, none of that appealed to you? And
don't you want the freebies that he's offering you? Don't you want the handouts he's offering? Come on. What didn't appeal to you? Yeah, everything about Zoran is unappealing.
What you were looking for in a mayor?
Well, I don't think nothing is free. With a background in finance and economics and business, I know that it's important that you have to pay for things. Even if you're paying for it at a discounted rate, you need to be able to pay for it. I don't think nothing is given free. I think it's important that we all should be able to work. I think job creation is the key to all of it. We must create jobs. We must put put our people back to work. New Yorkers need to work, and that's what I think Governor Cuomo will do for us. He'll help us to get our jobs back and help keep our businesses here in the city of New York.
And Mr. Jackson, one final question. What happens if Mr. Mamdani ends up being the city's next mayor? What are your thoughts about what his relationship might be like with President Trump?
I don't know if it's going to be that great, because I think President Trump, definitely wants to make sure that New York is in good hands. He's a New Yorker himself, and I feel like he wants to make sure that New York is in great hands. So it's important that age is important. I feel like we can't run things if we are not in a good age. I think 40 is pretty much the best age to run if you're running for mayor of this great city. If you're younger than 40, I don't think you can really do what we need. Age brings about wisdom.
Trump is a New Yorker. He wants New York to do well. This guy is voting for Cuomo because Trump said so. He wouldn't be voting for no Cuomo. He'd be voting for Curtis Lewa. It's so funny. Look how much Trump has changed this country. You have a black guy here having to vote for a Democrat because Trump asked him to. We have gone full circle, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump has changed this country's politics. So more people have already voted so far in this race than all of 2021, and there's still hours to go. 1.19 million people. There's way more than that live in New York. It's funny because a lot of those votes are still going to be dubious, Like, the DOJ better have 1 billion monitors there, making sure everything is done legally, because we know Democrats don't like following rules, and certainly not socialist. That's 250,000 early votes and mail-in votes. So we'll see. Maybe the turnout would be 2 million by the end of all this. But a lot of people are going to show up for Election Day. Why is he smiling? What a dork. There's Andrew Cuomo voting. Look, I don't like Andrew Cuomo. Think he's a piece of crap, but he's clearly the better option. So 462,000 people have already voted by this point. So it looks like that number is going to be 1 million pretty soon. It's going to be 1 million. Look, if it's in a head-to-head, Cuomo would win, and that's a big deal. So it's not like it's completely over. He could still do something, but I don't really expect Mamdani to lose. I feel like he has convinced enough gullible people to vote for him with free stuff, like the promise of handouts. And who doesn't want free? Free everything. Morgan Freeman this, Morgan Freeman that. So yeah, he's gonna probably win. It might be really close. If Cuomo manages to pull it off, it'll be because Republicans voted for him. We can see this in two ways. It's bad because New York is going to become a socialist dump, essentially, with a lot of stupid policies. That's one reason why it's bad. But it's also somewhat of a positive because, one, it undermines Democrats nationally for them to have a socialist commie mayor in New York City who's destroying it. That's campaign material for Republicans. And it's also somewhat good for us because if Andrew Cuomo were to win, let's say he pulls it off somehow, it would be because of Republicans that Trump pushed to go vote for him. And he would have no choice but to do things, enact policies in favor of the Republican base. It'd be like Republicans gain leverage. In a city, they have no business being able to gain leverage because of how blue it is. So there's a lot of ways to look at this. Like, it's not just bad. If Zoran wins, we win as the Republicans because New York was always going to have a Democrat or some version of a Democrat in it. And if we manage to get Cuomo to win, we gain a little power and a little leverage. We can talk to him in a certain way. Trump can tell Cuomo we're sending the National Guard in to secure the city and make it safe and make it habitable for everybody. We're going to want to deport millions of people out of there. We're going to want you to secure your elections. Guess what? He has to because Trump endorsed him, and that's how politics works. if people put you in power, they have some degree of control over you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. God bless you all and goodbye.